Let's go. It's the Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show.
Which part, old man, and I ain't got time to shake your hand. Get that Snapchat, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Alright guys, we've got a new role-playing game by Spider. Now these guys made Mars Warlog, and a lot of people didn't like that game, obviously, for various reasons, but this is a game bound by Flame. It's a fantasy dark role-playing game with lots of intense combat. You play as Vulcan, and he's a member of the Pure Blades, and basically this world that you're in is, they believe it's pronounced Vatriel, is basically it seems it's in dire times, and there's these ice lords that are wanting to take over the world, and basically it's like a big undead gang, so to speak, and they're trying to just take over the world. And I mean, that's what I got out of the story and the setup. What about you?
Yeah, think Game of Thrones. So these are the White Walkers, which I think in this are called White Walkers
or undead hobblers.
Damn it! What's it? Oh, whatever their name is.
Yeah, they're something.
They're like walkers.
Yeah,
White Walkers. They're like a mix between Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. So you play as this guy Vulcan, who I didn't name Vulcan.
Yeah.
But they decided to call him anywhere. Sometimes they call you Hawk. Matters who's talking. And then you kind of have this community, this little group of soldiers who apparently are like the Night Watch from Game of Thrones. I know I'm comparing a lot, but that's what they are. And you go around and you do shit for people for money. It makes sense. You're mercenaries. And you kind of go through like various towns and cities, and well, not really cities. You're kind of intense most of the time and stuff like that. Yeah. And you know, it's not a high production game, so the cities are small and stuff. But like what I really like, yeah, exactly. Like the little place you could go. There's going to be a shop. There's going to be a place you could buy material and potions and stuff. And what I really liked is the kind of the feel of each character. You get to really know them, and I mean, you can talk to them a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, which is mostly good and sometimes bad because I don't care what they're saying. But what's great about it is Vulcan, the main character, is a funny guy. He just makes me laugh. He says the most random stuff, and he feels so out of place in medieval time that it makes the game even better.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like they did this on purpose. What about you?
Yeah. They had to. I mean, they had to have done. They had to know going in, we're going to just make this guy an asshole and make him sound like he's in 2013 or what are we, 14?
Yeah,
2014. And,
even though it's in like olden day, fantasy, dark times, but. And now let's let the listeners know and the watchers that there's something that happens early on in the game. They're doing a ritual to kind of like not really prevent but kind of slow down, I believe, this impending doom, so to speak, from this group and the Ice Lords. And something goes wrong, and your character gets possessed by a straight up demon. A straight-up demon. I mean, it takes him over, and he's got, like, flame powers, and he's literally like, I just kicked this thing's ass, and you guys are talking about going to lunch? I mean, that's the kind of dialogue we're talking about and the kind of attitude, but even though it can come off kind of, I don't know, the word would be maybe funny or not quite right, there's some charm about the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very offbeat, and it works. Talking about that, though, there's some really terrible voice acting.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the main character. He's good. But that girl, Syllable...
Oh, I know who you're talking about. She's one of your... Sybil, that's it. She's a mage.
Sybil, yeah. What the hell? Yeah. Whoever voice acted her just quit.
Yeah.
Just quit.
So it's really hit or miss on that stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the gameplay here a little bit more. So it's not exactly open world, like we said. There's hubs. So basically, each act has a hub, and then you kind of have the town, like Whitey was saying, and then you'll go from the town. You'll get side quests in the town, and you'll go and explore out on the other outer perimeter and do fighting enemies and stuff. But the cool thing about this is the combat system. Now, why don't you tell them a little bit about how that works?
Well, one thing I really love is that it is very much kind of like a mixture between maybe Witcher, Dragon Age, and Dark Soul. It's tough.
Absolutely.
There's no dodge button, which is something you got to just get used to because there's just no mercy for you. But there is a block button, and the block button is also the parry button if you time it right. What I love, though, my favorite feature, and we can get more into the combat, but building traps. Not since Witcher have I felt that they actually matter. And I love building traps and shooting arrows and staying far the fuck away because these things will kill you. You'll die in 2 hits.
They will gangbang you.
Yeah, and not in the way that you thinking that you like it. No. It's a really hard... I mean, there is like a pussy plant. I'm not even kidding. It looks like a vagina. Have you fought that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but it drops really good treasure. So you want to kill this thing just like a real vagina. And okay, so
no. So let me just tell you this too for those guys listening: is that okay? The prologue, I actually died like 5 times. I literally died a few times in that prologue, and I was like, this game means business. And
I probably would too if you didn't tell me. I went in thinking I'm gonna have to block every second, so I blocked so much.
You have to block.
Yeah, you really do.
And what's cool about it is, so when you're fighting in the game, you have a sword, which is like your warrior stance. You have your ranger rogue stance, which is 2 daggers, where you can do some stealth and abilities, and you're really fast but like weak damage. And then you have your pyromancy, which comes from the demon abilities, and you level all these up with different effects. Like for example, with the warrior, you can actually level up his parry ability, so he can actually parry if he gets attacked from the side or gets attacked from the back, which is actually a very critical skill in my opinion. But what's really cool about it is that, like you were saying, you can't really block, or I'm sorry, you can't really dodge. You can dodge as a ranger, but again, it's like you just go backwards, and it's not like a roll dodge like you're thinking. It's like, imagine Dark Souls where you're basically dodging for the most part and rolling around. You don't really do that in this game. You're really in the thick of the battle, and this is the thing I think you really have to take away from it. When you're surrounded by enemies, you have to go after the ones that have long-range attacks. You have to. Okay, so the AI in the game for the enemies is fairly basic. It just attacks. It comes after you. It's kind of brain-deadish. It's nothing that's going to wow you. And kind of the same thing goes with your companions. You get to keep one companion with you, and you get to switch out with who you want to use. But the thing about them, though, is you can choose what you want them to do. So you can have them attack. You can have them heal, depending on their class. You can have them defend. We would probably recommend having them defend, right?
Yeah, because if you don't, man, these guys will just
drop.
They literally go into the battle to fucking die. That's their goal in life.
They drop.
That's
like a fly.
Yeah, dead.
Yeah.
I don't know how they come back to life either, because they get killed.
They just come back. It's like the battle's done, or I'm thinking there's like a reset time, or once the battle's done, they just, hey, I'm alive. I got knocked out.
Damn it. But yeah, they're just so stupid. Keep them on the fence.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I want to mention is the soundtrack. I think that the music in the game is really well done. It really adds to the dark fantasy theme, and it's a really good soundtrack, surprisingly so, to mirror some of our other thoughts on the game.
Sounds like, I like that song, Dragonborn.
Dragonborn.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
isn't that the Skyrim
song? Skyrim.
Okay.
You tricky devil.
I'm so tricky. Let's talk about the graphics. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
They have like this slight cel-shaded thing going on, but it feels more like, I want to say Dragon Age 2, but better.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because I like Dragon Age 2's look. It just felt outdated, but this looks better. But of course, it is low budget, and some of the movements are kind of bad. But some of the fight scenes look damn good in the cutscenes.
Yeah, the cutscene animation and stuff, but choreography is good. The characters themselves actually, I think, look really good and detailed and big and bulky, kind of.
And they all look different. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say the one area they falter at when it comes to the graphics is probably the facial animations. Those are a little off, especially the mouth movements. Some of the people look a little weird when they talk. So, but yeah, like character-wise and everything, and the environments look pretty good too, I gotta say. I was really digging that. And
they're all different.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a lower budget Witcher when it comes to the environments and how you run around in them.
Yeah, agreed. It's kind of like a little area of fighting, each like hub place. So you got a little arena of fighting. You can always run away, but you probably can die in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's so easy to die. But I know we're talking about the gameplay aspects here, and there's kind of a lot to cover in the game. But so I'll talk about the other stuff too. You mentioned the traps in the bow and arrow, or the crossbow, and it's really fun to use those. But you have the crafting system in the menu, which is really cool too. It's just right at your fingertips. It's really easy to use. The game will tell you, do you got the materials to make these? You know, either the slots, the items that go into the slots of the weapons or the armor, which give you boosts like, you know, resistance to poison or better physical damage or the ability to knock enemies down. So it's really easy to get into.
Summing it up for me, it was a surprise. I think it's a surprise for both of us.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't expect anything. I expected, like, Risen 2. And no offense to Risen 2, but I fucking hate that game, or Two Worlds. And these games are, like, MMO clone shits with no story and nothing productive happening and shooting a fireball over and over again. This game provides a challenge. It has a pretty good story if you don't take it serious, and the graphics are surprisingly good, and it's just easy to flow through. Now, of course, there's faults.
Yes.
You know, we all have faults, and I think the biggest faults are that it's not a serious story, you know, and it doesn't have the greatest voice acting, and the graphics aren't the next gen yet, and stuff like that, and the combat is definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, surprise hit of the year. I had a good time. I really did. Very good time with this.
Yeah, and I'm going to mirror your thoughts exactly. I mean, I came into this thinking, okay, these guys did Mars Wars Log, and I played that, and I enjoyed it to an extent, but it had a lot of issues, and I was just like, okay, let's give this game a shot. Got it for review. Really enjoyed what they were presenting here. There's some really cool-looking boss battles. I will say that, you know, I will mirror what you were saying, that the voice acting can be hit or miss at times. The graphics aren't the best, but they're definitely good enough. And the world they present is nice, and the characters, everything kind of melds well together, but it's not AAA, but it's not a AAA studio. But for what this studio provides, I think it does a damn good job, and if they can continue working on, you know, progressing their developer abilities, I think that they have a chance of being a top-tier Euro RPG developer. Now, I will say one other thing. If you don't like janky RPGs, you know, and I will say, like, you didn't like Risen 2 or Two Worlds, but I will say that I think people that do enjoy those games will definitely enjoy Bound by Flame. But if you didn't enjoy them, you still have a chance of enjoying this game. And again, I will say what you said. It's the surprise hit for me for the year so far. Definitely.
Agreed. 100%. So that's it.
Yeah.
We're saying pick it up. It's worth checking out.
Yes.
If anything else, check it out.
Check it out, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna cough and die. Everybody have a wonderful day. Yep. Alright, so I guess we'll just start. Do you know their names? I really don't know anybody's name.
I know Buffalo.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say I know Buffalo. It's about the only name I remember.